What happens when a file is created in the Linux kernel? So here is a high-level overview of the sequence of steps. These include first the user space program request. The process starts when the user space program like touch or echo or a file manager requests the creation of a file. This request is usually made through a system call such as open or create. Second is the system call handling. The system call is handled by the Linux kernel. Depending on the specific system call used, the kernel identifies the requested operation and prepares to carry it out. File system checking. The kernel checks the file system to ensure that the requested file creation operation is permitted and that there are no conflicts with existing files or directory structures. Permissions checking. The kernel checks the permissions to determine if the current user has the necessary privileges to create a file in the specific location. Directory entry creation. If all the checks pass, the kernel creates an entry for the new file in the directory specified by the user. This entry includes metadata such as the file's name, its inode number, and other attributes like permissions, ownerships, timestamps, etc. Inode allocation. The inode number is a unique identifier for the file within a file system. The kernel allocates a new inode for the file. The inode contains metadata about the file itself, such as its size, permissions, timestamps, pointers to data blocks, etc. Data block allocation. If the file is not empty, that is, if it is being created at the initial moment, the kernel will allocate one or more data blocks to store the file's data. The size and number of data blocks allocated depends on the size of the file. If the file is very small, the data block will be stored in the inode itself. In case of large files, the inode will contain pointers that point to the data blocks. Lastly, we have file system descriptors creation. Finally, the kernel will create a file system descriptor and return it to the calling user space program. This descriptor will serve as a handle that the program can use to refer to the newly created file in subsequent read, write, and other file related operations.